so. Psalm 51, 1 through 4 says, "Have mercy upon me, God, according to your loving kindness, according to the multitude of your tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgression, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned, and done this evil in your sight, that you may be found just when you speak, and blameless when you judge." David is writing this psalm, this poem of confession, during or following the whole Bathsheba incidents. I don't need to go through all the gory details, but there was adultery and murder involved as the low point in this man after God's own heart's life and reign, or at least a major low point. And then he has what I would think of in a first reading, a pretty audacious statement. Against you, you only have I sinned. David, no. You sinned against Bathsheba, you sinned against Uriah, you sinned against your wives, you sinned against all of the nation of Israel as their leader. You fell short in every sense. You sinned against everybody. You don't just sin against God. But as it turns out, David is absolutely correct, because ultimately the most important feature of all sin is that it offends the righteous character of the eternal Creator God. And that while you might sin against someone else, and you need to deal with that by apologizing, by making it right, by changing that behavior, whatever it is, that ultimately when you sin against another person, you sin against someone who is an image bearer of God or one of God's possessions. And so thus, he is the one who is most rightly offended. When you sin against the earth or any other situation, or even yourself, who you're really offending is God and his righteous character. So David is right to confess to God, because God is the only one who can give true forgiveness.